to my channel, In Search of Wonder. My name is Anne, and this is my Christmas TBR. Yes, it is not quite Thanksgiving. I have not pulled out my actual Christmas decorations yet, but I have some poinsettias here to bring in the Christmas cheer and a Dickens Christmas candle. I don't know if you could see the label clearly, but it is from a line of candles that are like bookish themed, and that is a Dickens Christmas candle. So I am here to bring you today my Christmas TBR, the books that I'm planning to read throughout the month of December. And a lot of them are Christmas themed. So let's get to it. First of all, I'm going to share with you the must reads. I always have 4 to 5 must reads in a month. And then whatever else I get to in the rest of the month is a big old pile of possibilities. Definitely true this month. To start with, the primary reading challenge that I am participating in this year is, of course, my own, which is my Reading the Classics challenge. And the prompt for December is to read a Christmas short story. And I love that prompt because it's quick and it's easy to accomplish. It's perfect for this time of year, gets you in the Christmas mood, and all the classic authors, okay, not all of them, but so many classic authors wrote Christmas stories, particularly in the Victorian era and beyond. So there are a lot of options for really heartwarming, lovely Christmas short stories that get you in the mood. I do have a few specific recommendations of ones that I've read or enjoyed. There are multiple collections out there available. I've found them on my Hoopla, the digital library from my local library. I have found them on Project Gutenberg. I have found them at thrift stores. I have found them on websites like christianbook.com. And I think last year I even bought one on Pango Books. There are so many different bind-ups of varieties of Christmas short stories by classic authors, sorted in various ways. One that I have read is, I think it's called A Very Vintage Christmas, and has a fantastic collection of short stories by famous authors like Louisa May Alcott, and, you know, of course, Charles Dickens, his Christmas short stories, and O. Henry, The Gift of Magi, all of those. So they're very easy to come across and to find. And I could have a recommendations list a mile long. I'm going to show you a few that I have in my collection. This one is, these are more excerpts, I think, for the most part, rather than actual standalone short stories. But Lucy Maud Montgomery did also write Christmas short stories, so I think they are in this book as well. Most of the Anne books, or maybe not most of them, but several of the Anne books have Christmas scenes in them. And that's always fun to read because she goes through the whole year. We get the whole lifespan of Anne of Green Gables. So we see all of her celebrations, including Christmas. So there are really some charming stories in there. And then A Child's Christmas in Wales by Dylan Thomas. And I have this edition with these beautiful full color illustrations and some black and white. So I like that one. That's a vintage copy there. And then, of course, the ubiquitous and classic, The Gift of the Magi. This one has some other stories by O. Henry, and they're not all Christmas. So one of them is a Thanksgiving story. One is The Ransom of Red Chief. So they span different seasons, but this one is also a bind up that I have in my collection that I pull out at Christmas time. But for myself, the short stories that I'm going to read, at least one of them this Christmas time, is from this little bind up that I bought recently at a thrift store, Christmas with Hans Christian Andersen. And this little tiny book has, I think, 3 or 4 stories in it. 4. The Fir Tree, The Snowman, The Little Match Girl, and The Last Dream of the Old Oak. I may have read the first 2. I've definitely read The Little Match Girl. Love that one. Has been a favorite since I was a little girl. And I've never read The Last Dream of the Old Oak that I know of. So I'm going to be reading at least The Little Match Girl from this book, just for nostalgic sake. But also, I hope to get to at least the first 2 in this one about the fir tree and the, what was the second one? The snowman. And if I get to the last one in here, I mean, but why not? It's not that long. So this is going to be my reading for Reading Classics Challenge. So that's my first must read. The other year-long reading challenge that I am co-hosting with Charlene at Coffee and a Book is the Jane Austen 250th birthday celebration. And it is culminating this month in December, on December 15th, with a birthday party for Jane Austen, a live event with Charlene and I. And so we'll be doing some trivia and playing some games and having a giveaway. So I hope that you are able to attend that. We'll also talk about what we are reading in December for the Jane Austen 250th birthday celebration. And you have 3 options. I will put all 3 of them in the description box below. One of them is Lady Susan. I have this lovely hardbound copy right here, which I may or may not read. I'm not sure. I actually read it last year in the winter, like between Christmas and New Year's, and I enjoyed it. I loved it as always, but I don't know that I will have time to reread it this year. I'm not making it a priority, although I did love it. So there's a part of me that really wants to read it to like flesh out my Jane Austen reading of the whole year and to be kind of like a completist, so to speak, but I don't know. I may or may not get to it, but Lady Susan is an option. There is another Christmas book that apparently has been kind of difficult for people to find. And at the moment, I cannot think of the name of it or the author. So I will put a picture of that one up there and put the information in the description box. So that is an option if you want to read it. The one I'm actually going to read is Jane Austen Christmas, Regency Christmas Traditions. And it is by Maria Grace. And it's not a very long book. So that's one thing I love about December reading is so many of the books are short. Love it. So this is a short little nonfiction read about Christmas in the Regency era, which I'm really looking forward to because I think I will find it so interesting. It's like food, traditions, music, dancing, everything, all of the aspects of Christmas time in the Regency era. So I'm really looking forward to that. I like Christmas a latte. Appropriately, there is a latte in here. I made a gingerbread latte by putting ginger, cinnamon, dash of cloves, and nutmeg directly into the milk before I steamed it, and then a little maple syrup to sweeten it. So good. I am participating in 2 other yearly challenges hosted by other booktubers. And one is Jane Reads Christian Fiction Reading Challenge, hosted by Jeanette. And the prompt for December is to read a book that has a holiday as part of it. And the one I really want to read for that, and I may even get to it now, today is Monday the 24th, so a full week before December starts. And this is the week of Thanksgiving. But at the end of this week, we are going to a tree farm to cut down our tree and decorate it. Friday or Saturday. And that tree farm that we go to is the setting for, or inspired, I should say, the setting for one of the most recent books by Kathy Golke, which is one of my favorite Christian fiction authors. It's called This Promised Land, and it's not a Christmas book, but that Christmas tree farm was the inspiration for the story, according to Kathy Golke, when I was talking to her, when I met her at a book festival recently. So I really want to read that one, but I don't currently have it. And I'm not sure if I can get access to it or not. So that is number 1 on my list. But secondarily on my list would be a couple of other options that I will get to in a minute. But if I can get it, I definitely want to read This Promised Land by Kathy Golke. That would be a priority. I may even get to it this week if I can. I need to finish some other stuff first and then see if I can get a hold of it. But if I can, I might even start it this week. And then for Chantel's Read Your Shelf Challenge, the prompt is Frosty. This whole entire year, I have had so much trouble finding books that fit Chantel's very simple and basic prompts. I don't know why. I've had trouble finding books on my shelf. But this month, I have not 1, not 2, but 3. Actually, I think it was last month I had a similar problem. The word was history, and I just had so many options. So these prompts at the end of the year have been amazing for me. So because I have 3 options, I don't know yet which one I will pick up. If you prefer one of these to the other, if you've read them and there's one you say, oh yeah, that's a really great one, go ahead and read that one. Please let me know in the comments. I have heard most of my booktube friends talk about one or the other of these books with glowing recommendations. So I feel like I can't go wrong here, but I'll show you the three and who knows which one I will actually pick up. The first one is Between Shades of Grey by Readathons. I am trying to read Readathons to zero, and this is one I haven't read yet, but can you get any frostier than that cover? I don't think so. I believe this was her debut novel, if I am not mistaken. Not 100% sure about that, but I think so. Anyway, Between Shades of Grey by Readathons. Really want to read that one. And then we have Green Glass House by Kate Milford, which is not my typical genre. I think there's some fantasy here, fantasy or magical realism. I'm not really sure. It's a bit of a mystery. I think it's middle grade. So none of those things are really like buzzwords for me, but at the same time, it sounds like a really delightful story and so many people love it. I feel like I will also love it. And I have another book, like a companion book to this one also in my collection. So I would like to eventually read both of them, but this seems like a good time to read Green Glass House. And then I have Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patty Callahan, and I'm actually leaning towards this one, but I kind of want to read all three of them, so I don't know if I'll have time or not. But again, we've got very frosty things going on here. It's about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and it's based on, okay, it's not like a retelling of that or anything is my understanding. It's just kind of drawing inspiration from that. There's C.S. Lewis is a character in this book, and then there's a whole fictional story. I've heard that it's a tearjerker, and at the same time, I think pretty heartwarming. So I don't know. I was just flipping through it just now, and I was like, oh, I feel like this would be a really like quick read, like an easy to read book. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards this one, but any of these three, at least one of them will be read in December. Let me know in the comments which one I should prioritize. Or if you've read all three, prioritize them for me, 1, 2, 3 in the comments, and tell me which one I should start with. Even if you haven't read all three, put them in the order you would write them. So those are my only must reads. So it's only 4, but 3 in 1, kind of, if that makes sense. So after that, there are multiple readathons happening in December, and there are 2 that I'm particularly interested in. And the first one is the Christie's Missing Readathon, which runs from December 3rd to the December 14th, which is the period of time when Agatha Christie went missing in the 20s, I believe. And so primarily the idea is just to read a book by Agatha Christie. And I'm slowly kind of trying to work my way through Agatha Christie's books. So I would really like to read one of them. I don't think I've read one yet this year. Actually, I think I read And Then There Were None earlier this year, but I would like to read another one. I would like to read, she has a lot, so I want to read more of them. And I want to at least read her most popular ones. I also want to read a Miss Marple one because I haven't read any Miss Marple yet. I've only read the Hercule Poirot or Standalones. So honestly, whichever Agatha Christie I read is going to depend on what I have access to. So I'm definitely going to be going to the library to check that out. And I will probably also just look online and see if there are any of like the big ones. The Roger Ackroyd one is at the top of my list for sure. There are 1 or 2 others that I haven't read yet that are at the top of my list. So I've already read And Then There Were None, Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, and I've read a Christmas one, A Holiday for Murder or something like that. So those are the only ones I've read. So if you have a recommendation for which one I should read next, put that in the comments. I'm also going to go see what I can get at my library and what is at my fingertips available for me to read. And I will just pick one of them. So I really would like to participate in that. It may not be during those actual days, December 3rd through the 14th, but because those look really busy time for me for Christmas. So I don't know about then, but at some point in December, I would like to read that. There's also the Dickens at Christmas Readathon, which is hosted by Julie at Bookish Travels and Alan Reads. And I am using this as an impetus, if you will, to actually read A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. This little guy has been on my TBR since October and I still haven't read it. I'm trying to finish Shirley by Charlotte Bronte first before I dip into this, and then I'm going to kind of take the same approach with this one that I did with Shirley, which is to read a chapter a day. And I'm finding that works really well for me for longer classics like this. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel pressured. I don't tell myself you have to finish it in a month or whatever. I just read a chapter a day. If I want to read more than a chapter in a day, so be it. But I just read a chapter a day and work my way through it slowly but surely. So, and really kind of savor the story. I've really been enjoying that with Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. And that's how I read The Count of Monte Cristo earlier this year. And I'm really enjoying that. So, A Tale of Two Cities, I will start in December. I may not finish it, but I definitely will start. But check out the Readathon. They are doing a group read of the Pickwick Papers. And so you may want to get involved with that. Pickwick Papers, I do want to read eventually. I want to read Dickens to Zero, but I don't want to read that right this moment. So I'm definitely going to be reading A Tale of Two Cities. Also, of course, there is his Christmas Carol, and he has some other short stories, Christmas stories, that would work very well for the prompt for my Reading the Classics challenge. So check out Charles Dickens and participate in Dickens at Christmas yourself as well. And then there are a couple of Christmas themed readathons happening. Actually, there are a ton of them. There are a ton of them. But I am going to be focusing on two. And both of these two have graphics that you can print out. So I'm going to be doing that and putting that in my reading journal. And then mood reading my way through a variety of Christmas things. Some of the stuff that's already on my list will fit into these readathons in one way or another. And then additionally, on top of that, I'm hoping to get to some Christmas books. So the two readathons that I'm really interested in doing are the Tinsel and Tales Readathon, hosted by Lucy. Actually has a bunch of other co-hosts. I'll list them all in the description box. Go check them out. They're all lovely channels that you will really enjoy if you haven't discovered them yet. So their prompts are: 1, Christmas in the title; 2, on your TBR since the last Christmas. Yeah, basically all of my options. That's true. Almost. And then number 3, a holiday romance. Number 4, the nativity story from the Bible. And that's the only one that you had to do to be actually participating in this readathon. Number 5, a festive cover. Number 6, a movie adaptation. Number 7, snow in the title or on the cover. And 8, a Christmas mystery. Those are the prompts. I don't have specific books lined up for all of these. You can overlap them. So I already know that some of the things that I already have on my TBR are going to fit into that. And then I have some mood reads options that will also fit into those. The other one that I am going to be participating is the Jinglebellathon, which is actually technically only runs from December 1st to the 14th. But again, I'm just going to do it throughout the month. And I love their prompts this year. The prompts are based on aspects or characters from A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This one is hosted by, I'm sorry, I didn't write it down, The Bright Side Girl, I think. I will link to the information in the description box. I really should have written all this down, because I'm not like trying to extemporaneously remember details when I know my brain does not remember details. So apologies about that, but the accurate information will be in the description box. Anyway, so the first prompt is Scrooge. And so the idea is that the main character in your story hates Christmas. Number 2 is Fezziwig. And so the book features a holiday party. Number 3, Tiny Tim, a heartwarming read. Number 4, Christmas Spirit, a holiday ghost story. That might be the trickiest one for me. I don't know. We'll see. And then number 5, Bob Cratchit, a family read. So I love those prompts, and she has some really amazing, fantastic graphics, particularly to use on Instagram, if you are on Instagram. So go ahead and check that out. She also has that reading challenge on Storygraph, which I love, because that is an easy way for me to keep track of my reading challenges. I like to do it in my journal as well, but having it on Storygraph is also very convenient. So those are the reading challenges that I'm going to be participating in to one degree or another in the month of December. But as for the mood reads, most of these I don't have on hand, so I'm just going to put a little picture up. But I am probably going to get them either digitally through my library, or I've put a couple on hold, physical copies actually at my library. I don't like to keep these Christmas books on hand really, because I don't have a lot of space to store them, and they're not something, most of them are not something that I reread every year. So I only keep the ones that I might actually want to reread, which generally tends to be like classics for the most part. So all that to say, I don't have actual copies, but I'm going to go through a list of the books that I'm considering. This is not an exhaustive list. I reserve the right to read any other Christmas books that I come across in the month of December. But on Kindle Unlimited, which I have until December 21st, I think, there is My Merry Mistake by Courtney Walsh, which is in the third of a series, and each book in the series is based on a different holiday. So I think there is a St. Patrick's Day one and a Valentine's Day one, and then now a Christmas one. So I've not read the other two in the series, but I do like Courtney Walsh by and large most of the time. So that is definitely an option on Kindle Unlimited. And then as I was scrolling through the options on Kindle Unlimited, I just came across this one. I don't know anything about it, but the people in the reviews were saying that it was a sweet and wholesome read and well written, and they enjoyed it. And the cover was definitely, I really enjoyed, like the cover looked really pretty. And that's called A Merry Christmas by Elizabeth Johns. And it's the first in a series. I've never read anything by this author that I know of, but it looks like a historical holiday romance. So sign me up for it. And then Christmas at the Inn by Ashley Clark, which I think I actually have on my Kindle downloaded. And that is part of a series by Ashley Clark. I've read, I think, the first book and maybe the second book in that series. I would like to read the Christmas one. It's just two Christmas ones. One I can get on Kindle Unlimited, and the other one, Christmas on King Street, is at my library digitally. So I want to read one or the other of those. On Hoopla, I can get Through Each Tomorrow by Gabriel Meyer, which has nothing to do with Christmas, but it's the latest in the Timeless series, so I just might feel led to read that one because I really want to. And then The Winter Companion by Mimi Matthews. I'm not sure how Christmassy it is, but it's wintry and it's by Mimi Matthews. Mimi Matthews is another author. I'm trying to read her backlist to zero. Her current body of work, I'm just reading if I want to or not, but her backlist, her existing backlist, I am trying to read to zero. And then The Christmas Catch by Toni Shiloh. I enjoyed her Christmas novel that came out a couple of years ago, You Make It Feel Like Christmas. That was really good. And The Christmas Catch is like a sports themed one. So that came out a year or two ago, and I really want to read that one as well. An Old Fashioned Texas Christmas by Karen Widemeyer. That's been on my TBR. I think it's a set of novellas or short stories. So I do want to read that. It's been on my TBR for a year or two now. Haven't gotten to it yet. And then All's Fair in Love and Christmas by Sarah Monzon. I put a book on hold at the library for that, a physical copy. That one came out several years ago. And several people, a lot of people, like all of my BookTube friends were blowing up with how much they love that one. That was a fun Christmas rom-com, contemporary rom-com, so I do want to read that one. And then A Sea View Christmas by Julie Klassen. I've been a little bit disappointed by the books in that series, other than the first one, and I'm not sure about this one. But I want to read it because it has the oldest sister or second oldest sister's story that I've really been wanting to know the whole time. And we were getting like little hints and glimpses of it, but now we're going to wrap up her whole story. So I really want to read it for that sake and to complete the series. So I do want to read that one, and I can get that on Hoopla through my library. And then Rosanna M. White, her Christmas story that she wrote, I think it was last year, I really enjoyed. It was kind of loosely inspired by The Nutcracker. And then this one is The Christmas Book Flood, which is set during World War II in Iceland. Like, what an unusual setting. And I love that. And it's all about books. Like, it's a book themed and everything. So book themed, Christmassy, set in Iceland, World War II historic novel. Like, I think it's going to be amazing. So that is on Hoopla. I would like to read that one. And then another one that I have on hold at the library to pick up, hopefully tomorrow, is 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, which is the second book in Jacqueline Frost's Christmas Cozy Mystery series, which I read the first one last year, really enjoyed it. That was a fun cozy mystery. Probably one of the best ones I've read. So I'm looking forward to reading that 'Twas the Night Before Christmas at Christmas time. I cannot guarantee that there will not be other books added to this list. Like I said, I need to go to the library probably tomorrow. And when I do go to the library, it's entirely possible I may stumble across some other things that look very interesting to me. I may pick them up and I may decide to read them at some point in December. So that totally could happen. But these are my definite plans and my possible plans to be expanded on as time goes on. So we will see which of these I actually read in December. Let me know in the comments the answers to my questions, which books I should read, which books I should prioritize out of the ones that I can't quite decide. And then let me also know what some of your reading plans are for December. What short story are you going to pick up for the Reading the Classics Challenge? And I look forward to chatting with you in the comments, and I'll see you next time.